Welcome to Kodu Game Lab Project 3 Part 2 of Yellow Brick Road. In this tutorial, you will be learning how to control objects and the game or story characters with your keyboard keys. You will also see how using different camera perspectives may or may not affect the tone in your game. I can either choose to open my game that I'm working on by clicking resume because that's the last game I had open, or I can go to load worlds and I can sort out my worlds by clicking on my worlds. And these are the worlds that I've been working on. I'm going to go to Yellow Brick Road sample, click play, and then escape to edit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a Kodu at the beginning of my path, so where I started. Add Kodu. This time I'm going to program him to say that when I use my keyboard, and I'm going to be more specific by saying the arrows, that I want Kodu to move. And I always want the camera to be in first person. And what that means is it will be, the view of the game will be through the character's eyes. So it will be through Kodu's eyes. On the third line of Kodu, I'm going to add that when he sees a brown apple, that I want him to grab it. That's going to be under holding, grab, and I'm going to have him grab it once. And then when he bumps into the stick, he's going to give it to him, and that's under holding again. And we're going to be creating the stick and the apples later. I'm going to click escape. And now I'm going to add another object. I'm going to add a balloon. And I'm going to program the balloon with the same first programming line so that the balloon also moves with the keyboard arrows. With this programming, it'll be almost as if the balloon is following Kodu. I'm also going to set a timer for 5 seconds so that 5 seconds after the game starts, I want the balloon to give Kodu a message. So I'm going to have him say something. And I'm going to make sure this is in full screen. Every message that the balloon gives Kodu, I want it to be in full screen so that the game stops and the player has to press A to go back to the active game. In this message, the balloon is introducing himself to Kodu and letting him know that he's going to help guide him back to his home. He also gives him tips on what to look out for and what he needs to do in order to get home safely. So now I'm going to click Save. I'm going to add on the third programming line that when the balloon does not see Kodu, that the game ends. I'm going to click Escape to go back to editing my world. Now I'm going to add a stick somewhere between Kodu and the edge of the game world. So I'm going to put the stick right over here, add that object, and I'm going to add a few things to the sticks program. First of all, I'm going to set it on a timer so that every 2 seconds it opens. that's under actions, open. And then every 6 seconds, it's going to close. So I'm going to add my 6 seconds. Then I'm going to tell it to close. On the third line, I'm going to add another timer. And this timer is going to say that every 4 seconds, it's going to shoot a missile. So sometimes it's going to be closed to shoot a missile, and sometimes it's going to be open. On the fourth programming line, I'm going to add that if the stick sees anything that's brown, that it's going to grab it. It's under holding. Grab it. And then I'm going to add that when it's got it, the brown apple that is, that it's going to vanish it, and that's under combat. So vanish it. In addition, when it's got that brown apple, it's also going to express stars, and that's under actions, express stars. And I'm going to indent that line so that it vanishes it and expresses stars. Now I'm going to escape to go back to edit, and I'm going to add a tree in that same area, just about over here. Add a tree. And now I'm going to add the programming to the tree to create those apples. I'm going to have it do it in increments. So sometimes I'm going to have it randomly creating red apples, and sometimes I'm going to have it randomly creating brown apples. So right now, every 5 seconds, I'm going to have it create an apple. The default is red. And then on the second line, now I'm going to say randomly every 10 seconds, we want it to create a brown apple. I'm going to click escape to go back to the edit screen. I'm also going to go back to the home, and I'm going to save my world again. And I'm just going to save it instead of adding the version to it. I hope this tutorial has been helpful in understanding how you can control characters in the game, as well as how you can change camera perspectives to change the tone in your